Behold, a day in the life of a childless woman. The point is to make you feel good about being an aging, deeply unlikable woman who never had kids. Narcissism, it makes you happy.
Feminists like Chelsea Handler, they've been lied to by their society forever. That you could be a girl boss and you can do anything a man can do, which everyone who's ever seen a woman back up a vehicle knows that's not true. Your womb resembles a dried up tumbleweed blowing down an old western town, and your Valentine's Day date for the 10th year in a row is a 10-year-old copy of Magic Mike and a half-full bottle of Xanax, and you're trying to pretend like you're happy, but you're not happy.
This lady is miserable. I mean, she is miserable, and it's written all over her face how miserable she is.
Have you ever looked at a childless person and thought to yourself, how dare they choose to live their lives the way they want? You ever heard someone say they don't like kids and thought, what do you mean you don't like kids?
What kind of sick monster are you?
Yeah, me neither. Because I'm a sane, normal person. I'm sure many of you have heard about this in the news recently, but just in case you haven't, 47-year-old comedian Chelsea Handler made the grave mistake of showing the world how happy she is as a childless woman in a satirical TikTok video.
This is a day in the life of a childless woman. I wake up at 6 a.m. I remember that I have no kids to take to school, so I take an edible, masturbate, and go back to sleep. I wake up at 12:30 p.m. and get ready for a busy day of doing whatever the I feel like. I put on my most impractical and stylish shoes since I won't be chasing a child around the grocery store. I go to my fave spot in Paris to grab a croissant. I do a meditation sesh on the plane since I have no screaming kids, allowing me all the time in the world to become enlightened. The weightlessness of my existence has granted me superhuman powers. I teleport myself back home. Then I get ready for a night out with whatever hot guy I met on Raya that morning. I call up a babysitter and tell her that I don't need her since I still don't have kids. Now it's time for a workout, so I hit Mount Everest for a quick climb. I invent a time machine, go back in time, and kill Hitler.
Freeze, you bastard!
It's amazing what you can do when you have this much free time. And that's a day in the life of a childless woman.
Because, as we all know, it's totally fine and acceptable to tell the world how exciting and heartwarming it is to be a mother or father and how great your kids are, but letting everyone know how rewarding and peaceful it actually is to be child-free?
That's why your womb resembles dried up tumbleweed, you miserable old hag. Have fun dying alone.
There's something that seems to really anger some people regarding the idea of not having kids and being happy with that choice. Society, as we all know, puts a lot of different pressures on both men and women, but especially women. Apparently, we're still living in the 1950s in which women's only purpose in life is to have children and slave away in the kitchen for their husbands. I'm sorry, I must not have gotten the memo. Because I'm not fucking doing that. I am 28 years old and I am single, childless, and already wanting a hysterectomy. I'm obviously so miserable and lonely. I'm only putting on this front like I'm actually much happier being single and childless because deep down, I'm secretly afraid of dying alone. Even though there are plenty of elderly parents in nursing homes whose kids never even visit them. But let's just ignore that fact. No, it's true. I don't like kids. Oh, I forgot. You can't even say that now without being looked at as a heartless monster. I want to show you guys real quick this Twitter exchange I had with this girl that I had been following for a while. I was under the impression that she was a mature, open-minded individual that would be willing to have a civil discussion. So I replied to one of her tweets, attempting to do just that. Boy, was that a mistake. I really don't understand what people mean when they say, I don't like kids. Just say you're not equipped to deal with them. Now, this statement kind of confused me because she seemingly answered her own question within the same tweet, although I completely disagree with the idea that liking kids is equivalent to not being equipped to deal with them. So I actually gave her the benefit of the doubt and just asked her a simple question. Well, isn't that essentially what they mean when they say that? That they aren't equipped to deal with them, lol? And in the most passive-aggressive fashion, she responded with a simple yes, with a period. Okay then, I'm so glad we had this informative conversation. Then she, for some reason, decides to subtweet me. And I know it was directed towards me, as I was the only one at the time to reply to her initial tweet. Yeah, that shit is a weird thing to say. Don't really know what all the hoopla is about because that's what I think. Skull emoji. Just go ahead and continue not liking kids. Why do you care what I think, Lamau? Well, that escalated quickly. Hoopla. You've received the slightest pushback in the form of a question and you characterize it as hoopla. Do you see how triggered these types of people get even at the mere thought of someone just casually saying they don't like children? Not even that you hate them. You just don't like them. Why is that statement so triggering? It's okay to not like something, especially if you have valid reasoning. Kids are loud. They're annoying. They're messy. They're for some reason always sticky. They take time away from your precious sleep. I know this is hard to grasp if you still have third grade level critical thinking skills, but just because someone doesn't like kids doesn't mean they want to
unalive all babies and watch them burn deep within the fiery pits of hell.
And no, just because you don't like something doesn't mean you aren't equipped to deal with it. I don't like washing dishes. Doesn't mean I'm not equipped to deal with it. I think I might actually start using that line on anything in life I don't really like. I'm sorry, I'm not equipped to deal with working shitty jobs. I'm just not equipped to deal with paying my bills every month.
Can you do it for me?
Her saying that ignorant shit is almost like this weird sort of superiority complex. It's like a simple-minded attempt at talking down to those who say they don't like kids so she can feel more mature and adult-like. Some people are in fact equipped to handle children and do it very well, and yet they still don't like them. Just say you're envious of people who are child-free and happy and go. Also, maybe you shouldn't be publicly tweeting weird, unintelligent takes if you don't want anyone, including your own followers, to challenge you in any way. That's literally what Twitter is for. So, but you know what? Silly me for thinking that I could actually have a conducive adult conversation with a chronically online Twitter user. That's my bad. Won't be making that mistake again. I want to make it abundantly clear that not liking children does not mean you are a bad person. It literally just means they're not your cup of tea. Like, I love dogs, but I'm not going to be upset with someone who says they don't like dogs. The fuck? That gotta do with me. That is not going to stop me from having dogs of my own one day. Nor does that make me think that you want all dogs to starve and die or something. They're just not everyone's cup of tea. And that's fine. But no, you have to like and you have to want and you have to have kids because what is your purpose in life without them? Well, listen up, child-free women, because according to right-wing extremists, your life is meaningless. This is from Newsweek, posted to social media on February 10th. Chelsea Handler's video has gone viral with over 6.7 million views after Fox News pundit Tucker Carlson invited right-wing radio host Jesse Kelly on his show to discuss the video. Kelly began by saying, quote, "Feminists like Chelsea Handler have been lied to by their society forever that you can be a girl boss and you can do anything a man can do," which everyone who's ever seen a woman back up a vehicle knows that's not true. Okay. His rant continued as Carlson listened silently. Quote, "And their womb resembles a dried up tumbleweed blowing down an old western town, and your Valentine's date for the 10th year in a row is a 10-year-old copy of Magic Mike and a half-full bottle of Xanax. And you're trying to pretend like you're happy, but you're not happy." Some other conservative thinkers agreed, while plenty of other people defended Handler's skit. The Blaze's Sarah Gonzalez tweeted, "This self-serving, hedonistic, narcissistic woman will wonder when she's 70 why she didn't make better choices when nobody wants her and she eventually dies alone." While conservative commentator Elijah Schaefer added, "It's supposed to be funny, but it feels more like a cope. So sad when a woman doesn't have children to call her own. Lonely life." Actually, that sounds more like coping to me, the conservative takes on this, but let's move on. But others who loved the video were delighted in the outrage Handler had caused online. Imagine being this triggered because someone chose not to have kids. Not everyone wants to have kids. If more people recognize that, we wouldn't have so many traumatized adults. Some people just aren't built for parenthood, so it's best those types don't have children, tweeted one fan. And another agreed. I'm laughing my ass off at the desperate self-loathing parents who are so upset at this joke video showing to the world that they regret their choice. Parents I know, happy parents, think this is hilarious. Jesus, people, some of us want kids, some of us don't. Also, sarcasm. There is an entire subreddit called Regretful Parents, in which there are over 70,000 members who frequently discuss their grievances and difficulties with being a parent. One user expressed, "I fucking hate being a mother and wife. There, I said it. I'll preface with saying that I do love my children, but it absolutely drains every single part of my being, to the point where I'm not sure I can keep going much longer. I hate how I went undiagnosed with a neurological disorder my entire life until recently, which makes being a parent/partner so damn difficult. I could have made better choices had I known. I hate that I grew up thinking because I was a girl, having kids was just part of life. I hate how we don't normalize conversations surrounding the topic of not having children. I hate that I even feel this way. Not like they asked to be here. So I go through the motions and try my best for them, but what I wouldn't give to go back 20 years and make different choices." Another user said, "I never want to come home. My daughter is 2. Her pregnancy wasn't very planned, the pregnancy was difficult, the birth was hell, and the postpartum was a living nightmare, coping with a permanent injury from the birth. I had a surgery 1 year after it and finally started to feel better about 6 months ago. Every single night when work is over or I have to leave an appointment to come home, I just don't want to. I just sit in my car alone, honestly, for several minutes. It feels like I can't move my entire body. It feels like climbing Mount Everest to start the car and actually drive it home. I've never felt dread like this in my life. Or I sit in the driveway after I've arrived and just feel like I physically can't pull myself inside. I just can't do it. It's not that I don't want to see my husband or daughter. It's the mountain of responsibilities that fill me with dread. The incessant needs. I can't do it anymore. Yesterday, I just sat in my car for 30 minutes. I don't know what's wrong with me. I just don't want this life. I don't want it. It's been a living nightmare. None of it is rewarding. Maybe I'm just an antisocial psychopath. What kind of monster doesn't find having a child rewarding?" And I really like this comment that was in response to that. Many people don't find having a child rewarding. That's not at all monstrous. You're so not alone. There are many of us. We just don't say it and we put on a smile and pretend. But inside, plenty of us don't find children or raising them rewarding. One of my favorite quotes actually is, "Who hasn't asked themselves, am I a monster or is this what it means to be human?" Clarice Lispector. I love the quote so much that I have a phone case with it printed on the back. It reminds me that every aspect of myself or every feeling I have that makes me feel like a monster is just a part of the human experience, that many, many people also feel these things. It's just a part of being human. I hope you remember this too. I often say to people who think I'll regret not having my own children one day, I'd rather regret not having children than regret having them. They didn't ask to be here. Why would I, as someone who hasn't liked kids since I was a kid, ever want to bring a child into this fucked up world and inevitably traumatize them in one way or another? Believe it or not, I actually care about children enough to know that they deserve to have parents in their lives that actually want them and know how to properly show them how to love, how to take care of themselves, and how to be a decent person. I respect good parents so much, y'all. I would never want to disrespect parenthood by bringing tiny humans into the world that I didn't 100% want. What miserable people like Jesse Kelly, Ben Shapiro, and the triggered Twitter lady should be putting this energy toward are the shitty parents. You know, the parents that neglect their children, emotionally and physically abuse their children, and even murder their children. The parents that pressure their children to be who they had imagined them to be in their heads before they were even born. The parents that literally kick their children out of the house once they find out their child is gay, bi, trans, or anything else that challenges heteronormativity. The parents that are actively and unequivocally traumatizing their children. Maybe you should focus your pent-up rage on those motherfuckers instead of shaming those of us that have the intelligence and the decency to not become parents that our kids will eventually despise. Y'all know kids be unaliving their parents too, right? Just saying, it's possible, especially if you treat them like your property. Plus, who wants to go through pregnancy and labor anyway? I could die. especially being a black woman, I could literally die. Moral of the story is simple, really. Just give child-free people the same respect and decency that you would give parents. I promise you it's not that hard. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like to appease the algorithm gods. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more of moi. And remember, just because someone likes kids doesn't mean they're fully equipped to be a decent human being. Bye.